All right, we ready? Can you hear me?
All right. We are going to start with John Shipley and then go to Jamal.
Hey, coach, just obviously injury update on Trevor and then Christian, Walker Little, and Trey Herndon as well.
So starting with Trevor, obviously it's just a right high ankle sprain. Everything's stable, everything looks good. And we'll see where he is here in a couple of days. Christian has a core muscle injury, and he'll obviously gonna miss some time. He'll be out. Walker has a left hamstring strain, and it's in uh, again, we'll see where he's at, strength wise and stability in a couple of days on that. And then Trey obviously will be in the concussion protocol.
And then with Walker, his injury came on the play Trevor got sacked on, correct?
No, it did not. It was earlier in the
Oh,
game.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jamal.
Hey, Coach, if Trevor Lawrence does have to miss some time, how helpful is it to have time to be able to get CJ ready?
I say that again. Ask it again.
Sorry, if Trevor has to miss some time, how helpful is it to have the full week to get CJ ready rather than
Oh, okay.
life
Yeah.
of the backup
Yeah.
go in the game at a moment's notice?
Yeah, no, I understand. I didn't understand the question first time. No, it's good. It's good to get CJ, a full week of preparation. Obviously, Trevor will stay mentally sharp and obviously see where he's at. But to give CJ, the time this week with the offense with Luke Fortner. I mean, not with Luke Fortner, with Luke Fortner. With the center quarterback stuff and working with the running backs, it'd be good. It'll be good for CJ otherwise I thought, last night CJ filled in nicely.
And with Christian sideline, is the plan to give Parker Washington an opportunity?
Yeah, Parker did a nice job, last night, made some plays. Obviously the touchdown was huge. But yes, he'd be the next guy up, and then he'd get a full week of work as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go with Demetrius and then D-Rock.
Hey Doug, obviously when Trey went down, it seemed like Gregory Jr. came in, and then it seemed like later on Antonio Johnson sort of mixed in there. So I'm just wondering what you saw from those two, and is that sort of how you would like to play it, sort of rotating them?
Well, Antonio Johnson came in because Greg Jr. was cramping during the game, so we had he was the next guy up there. But yeah, you'd still like to get Antonio some work, whether he's playing the nickel spot or possibly the safety spot, and with Trey being in protocol right now, this would be a great opportunity for both those guys to continue to get work.
How did you see him do? I mean, it was obviously his first time getting extensive work, I guess. Antonio.
Antonio. Yeah, he's he's a good player, and he does some good things. He moves well. He's a good tackler, physical, and just the more he plays, the more confident he'll be in what he's doing.
Thank you.
Hey, Doug, is there a legitimate possibility that Trevor could play this week?
I'm not going to put that timetable on Trevor. I'm not going to put him in a box like that, but we'll see how he is in a couple of days.
Okay. Are you guys going to bring in any other quarterbacks to work out? Specifically, Nick Foles, would he be one guy you would take a look at because of familiarity with you in the offense?
We haven't had those discussions yet.
Okay. On the play where Trevor got hurt, was Parker Washington not in the right spot or not looking? Was it Calvin Ridley on the left that Trevor was looking at and pulled the ball down because he didn't like what he saw? Just trying to get a fuller understanding of what happened on the play.
Yeah, there's just some miscommunication with Parker and the decision he had with his route. There was a defender outside of him, defender inside of him, and he was kind of caught in between. And it's just a young player that hasn't had a lot of time yet and a lot of reps out there, and just an indecisive decision on Parker's part in that particular case, something that he'll learn from and get better. And unfortunately, it ended up with with Trevor being injured.
Real quick, Foley Fatukasi, ankle injury and Cisco with the shoulder. Can we get an update on those two guys as well?
Yeah, Foley's is more left heel contusion, and he'll be day to day. And then you said Cisco or Tyson?
Yes. Cisco. Was Tyson hurt too?
No. Cisco just he just had his shoulder in the game. Everything was fine. Put a harness on him. He went back in and played. He'll be fine this week.
And is Tyson hurt or no? Did he aggravate the hamstring or is he good?
No hamstring. He just got a little bit of a right quad strain in the game in overtime. So again, he'll be day to day.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mia, and then Hayes.
Hey, Doug, I'm just curious how you would evaluate Devon Hamilton. Obviously, a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks, and because of that, I'm assuming that's the reason that Angelo Blackson was inactive, and what you thought of Devon's performance.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that point. Devon played much better than he had the previous times out there, and then he continues to improve and really just, for him, it's about working the technique, the physicality of being double teamed a lot, single blocks, things like that, using his arms, extension, and continuing to push the pocket. So he played better than the previous couple of times, and it was good to see him do that.
And on the flip side, obviously, Buster Brown, a healthy scratch because of with the log jam and having Greg up and having Tyson active again. Do you try to find a way to keep both of those guys, Greg and Monteric, active?
You do, but it comes down to the special teams and how we use them on special teams, and it's hard to have them all up. Obviously when you go with 48 like we do, but we'll see this week. I'm sure there'll be some combinations, some guys that will probably be up, than previous weeks.
Awesome, thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Doug, now that you've seen it, where do you think the defensive issues, what can you attribute that to in terms of the struggles last night now that you've watched the film?
I thought the way we started the game extremely well, and we were making plays, we were tackling on the perimeter, and then things just kind of got away from us. I felt like we were not gap sound as the game went on. We missed tackles as the game went on. And it just sort of there were some coverage issues, and just some basic things that the guys should know, and it's something that we can coach this week. Obviously we got to show them and continue to improve, but even looking at it again, we were right there at the end with an opportunity to probably win the game, with that last kick, as opposed to getting into overtime. So, again, there was enough issues to go around in all three phases, but things that we can clean up.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to go with Mark Long and then Cameron Wolf.
Hi, Doug. Is surgery a possibility for Trevor? We've seen guys with do that band surgery. Is that has that even been discussed? Is it a possibility for him?
I have not had discussions with the docs, about that. I don't think that I don't think that's a necessary means at this point. I think just because it's where it is in the ankle, that it's not necessarily something that surgery would be warranted at this time.
And then what was your take on the offensive line? I mean, 4 sacks, some of it late when you guys were chasing, but did you feel like they performed decent enough?
There's always room for improvement, right? I mean, I thought there were some good things in the run game early, and then we got sort of stymied as the game went on. We got to continue to try to push the line of scrimmage, right? Play on their side of the ball. We got stalemated a couple times, and so those are all things that we got to continue to work on. But But the sacks came when we were kind of in those 2-minute modes and trying to push the ball down the field, and that's going to happen. But I thought overall decent, but can definitely improve.
Hey, Doug, this is, I think, the second or third time Trevor's had an injury that may have looked significant, but he ended up avoiding it. I don't know if there's anything maybe about the ability to avoid these injuries.
Cam, that was really, I didn't understand it. It was broken up, your question. Can you ask it again?
Yeah, sorry about that, Doug. The question was, Trevor has essentially avoided what has looked like a couple of significant injuries in his career. I'm curious if he has a certain ability that you've seen to avoid those big injuries.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Look, sometimes it's just luck, just being in the right place at the right time, picking his feet up at the right time. He's obviously he's very, he's long, he's tall, and very flexible as you imagine. The one last night looked worse than it really was. Very fortunate there, but he seems to have a little bit of a knack, but I just think that for the most part, just been fortunate, to not have a serious injury than what they are.
And one more on that. Is this an injury where he would have to get 100%, or you would be able to gauge maybe a lesser mobile Trevor and play in that situation?
I think, Cam, to be honest, I want to make sure that Trevor's 100%, before I put him or any player back on the field. It's just a matter of their, as a player too, the tolerance that they can withstand with any injury. And you just don't want to risk, if the player is not in any harm or could risk further damage to the area, then you have to consider it. But definitely don't want to risk further injury.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, we're gonna go with Jamal and then Mia.
Hey, Doug, when a quarterback goes down, team tends to react one way or another. How do you think the guys handled that?
Well, I thought last night the guys handled it fine. There's a lot of confidence in CJ. Obviously, he definitely commands the huddle. He's smart. He knows our offense, and so I think the guys really handled it well because we were in a close ball game, opportunity to win the football game. He did a nice job getting us down there for the tying field goal, obviously, and really did some good things while he was in there. So still a lot of confidence there, and didn't think the guys wavered one bit.
And I know there's always that next man up mentality. Team's been mostly healthy this season, short injury list. Coming out of this one, you have a little bit of a longer injury report. What can you learn about some of the guys in your roster that are going to get opportunities to maybe show what they can do on the field?
Yeah, it's something that I preach quite a bit to the guys here, especially you get later in the season. The guys that are in backup roles, or guys that are maybe those core special teams players that now get opportunities to play on offense or defense, and it's their time to go. It's their time to play, and I think it's on the coaches to make sure these players are prepared. The coordinators making sure that the plays that are in the game plan are ones that they can handle and they're familiar with. But it's always been, a next man up mentality, regardless of position. And that might be the case this week.
Thanks, Doug.
Go ahead, Mia.
One more on the injury front, Doug. Obviously, we know Travis came into this game with a rib injury. How did he come out of this game? And what did you think in terms of, number one, commitment to the run game, which I know you kind of answered already, but number two, the distribution of carries?
Yeah, TJ's he's sore today, which is expected, and but he came out okay, came out fine. And it was a conscious effort to get D'Ernest and even Tank in there when possible. I know D'Ernest had some opportunities last night as well, so that's going to be probably I think the mindset or the rotation as we go. These last 5 weeks of the season, we got to make sure that all all three of our backs are involved each week. And it does take a load off of TJ, having Dearness and Tank, take some more snaps. So, but they're gonna be sore this time of year. They're gonna be banged up a little bit like everybody is, and but yet we still want to get those other two involved.
We have time for one more. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, I just left my hand up. I don't have another question. Apologies for that.
All right, no worries.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Can I ask, is Christian Kirk surgery, is that in surgery needed on the core muscle?
I believe so. We're going to send the images off, get another look at it and make sure that that we have the right, diagnosis and obviously the right plan of attack for Christian, moving forward.
And then McManus now has missed, I think he missed 2 of his last 3 kicks, 48-55, but he's missing them all right. Is there anything mechanical or situational there that's happening, or?
Not really. I think the one last night that he missed, I mean, if you look at that ball, the way that ball, flew in the air, it really slid hard right outside that right upright. So felt like he hit it good. Just kind of the mercy of the wind at that time. But yeah, it's something that he'll obviously be disappointed, and we're disappointed, but still got a lot of confidence in him and continue to put him out there in those situations.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.